This is Tori Hampson, and you're listening to the audio recording which accompanies the Prezi presentation as part of my final portfolio for ChangeLab's second semester. Now I'm starting from this concept of inspiration being greater than challenge. For me, I truly believe that challenge is instrumental in our learning, within education and work. But in my past few years of university, I've been finding challenge to greatly outweigh inspiration, in a way that has me struggling to find the connectedness and excitement that I know is possible from previous learning experiences. I've decided to pick 3 examples from this semester that had inspiration, at least somewhat, outweighing challenge, in a way that pushed me to learn more and take more risks. My first example is our dialogues. We started with this question of, how can your classroom change the world? This was an idea we were really invested in. Our time in ChangeLab had got us really curious as to what kind of possibilities we could explore within the university or classroom if we brought together professors, administrators, and students to brainstorm. This dialogue showed us that as students and people, we are very capable and talented. The dialogues were a success, and we could also see that from our final presentations that we did in class, we are clearly very talented and creative people. I think acknowledging and starting from a place where we recognize that we are capable and talented is really important for being able to push us to do as much as we possibly are capable of. Building from that, I want to pass on an example of something I'm hoping future ChangeLab students will be able to learn from. This Prezi and portfolio in general is full of a lot of learnings that I had, which I do hope future ChangeLab students could take as something to reflect on and really learn from my discoveries, realizations, and mistakes. A huge learning was this need to trust in yourself. It can be so difficult to do this, but it is so beneficial, especially when it comes to working with other people, because when you trust yourself, others are more likely to trust you, and things go a lot smoother when everyone believes that each person is capable of achieving their tasks. On the flip side of this is that if you are trying to avoid actualizing your fears, you need to not be consumed by self-doubt, because if you do believe that you are going to be of little to no help to your classmates, it's quite likely you'll actualize this. Something that I've heard in a number of dialogues that I've been part of is this idea that the right people are in the room. So that means the conversations that are going to happen are the conversations that are supposed to happen. And I found that I was able to actually extend this to us as the organizers, that we were the right people to put on these events and make them happen. A big learning I had was the necessity to leave space and take risks. So space can be something where you allow others to make the shots, and a good example of this was that when we were deciding how the dialogue would be structured, I hoped that we would have a more structured and rigid facilitation way of doing things in our breakout groups, and we ended up choosing to go with a looser facilitation style. And so I let myself back down from that, and I think that it really was of great benefit. It felt like it was the more risky thing to do, but it really aligned with trusting that the right people were in the room, and something that we were really hoping would happen, and that is this idea that people would have so much buy-in that they would want to start action groups, is actually something that our participants came up with on their own. So this kind of leads into the idea that you should let people decide what they want to commit to and what they care about. which I found to be a reflection of what we were doing in first semester when we were considering an SFU consultation, and we were trying to figure out how guided our options or questions would be, or if we would leave space for participants to be more creative. I believe it would have been a risk either way for how structured or guided we may have chosen to go, but I think that what happened is we allowed for really genuine, passionate interest to come out, and I also think that we were really smart about making ourselves transparent in the fact that this is also a learning experience for us. Within our planning stages, I also think we were really kind to one another in the sense that we were aware of the fact that we all wanted to gain new skills and learnings. So again, that's kind of part of leaving space. So we left space for other people within our organizing committee. Another key thing that we had solidified was the importance of assigning roles. Things are so much faster and cleaner, and there's a lot more trust when it's clear who is doing what and when. Something I partly took from the drama class I'm currently in is that there is nothing more important than showing up and doing the work. You need to be physically there, you need to be present, you need emotionally willing to engage, and you need to be providing energy to your fellow classmates or your actors. And you need to just be open to whatever work needs to be done, even if you're not feeling incredibly confident. This can be exhausting, but when you do this, the outcomes can be just so rich and rewarding. One of my favorite ideas that came out of this semester was a icebreaker of sorts, or a check-in. What are you leaving behind in order to be present today? This is a question I want to be able to ask myself and others within work, school, volunteer, and personal life. It's just such a great way for people to be vulnerable and connected either to themselves or with others if they're sharing their answer. It's a simple question that can get you to dig really deep. Something that really energized me from our dialogue session is that there really does exist a large potential for change on campus. There are passionate professors, administration staff, and students that are excited and skilled. And these people are ready to take on the challenge of rigidity within the classroom structure and get involved in the community. I felt a lot of hope coming out of these dialogues, and that really challenged this issue that I've been having, where I feel like university is not a place where I'm supposed to challenge things. And except for a few choice classes, experiential learning and alternative ways of learning and being involved in the community are not a priority. It was inspiring to see these people who want students to be engaged in different ways, which aren't necessarily already in designated experiential courses. This brings me back to my key concept of inspiration being at least a little bit greater than challenge.